This is CTV News with Nafisa Karim.
They are expecting more outages today on the south coast.
Tonight, rain, wind, and more rain. Ferries canceled and communities put on flood watch as the first storm of the season makes its way through Vancouver Island. Also tonight.
Well, I think it's great. I just hope they don't have too many closures from here onward.
Paving the way, a crucial connection to the community of Bamfield finally reopens after months of reconstruction. Plus, Adam finds out how an unexpected discovery at a liquidation store in Victoria is leading to a meaningful reunion in Haida Gwaii. Later on the Sawatsky sign-off. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. A fall storm has brought landslides, heavy rains, and even a daring helicopter rescue to northern Vancouver Island. The weather system is pounding parts of BC, and for one community, it meant hunkering down in the dark. CTV's Brendan Strain has more.
Trees and earth strewn across the northern highway, the aftermath of a powerful fall storm which partially cut off a remote community.
The people in Holberg can't get out to Winter Harbor. There's been a landslide between their log dump and their community.
Winter Harbor resident Will Moore came across it yesterday on his way back home from an outing to Port Hardy.
It's over 2 meters thick, broken trees poking up, mud, stumps, and I can't see very far, but I can't see the end of the slide. I can't see the far side of the slide.
That slide prompting a rescue mission from a Cormorant helicopter dispatched from 19 Wing Comox. 8 people plucked from the road, all in good condition.
If you're stuck in a remote area on a small road or remote road and there's mudslide around you, who knows when the next mudslide is going to come? And it's raining. They don't have food. We don't know what kind of shelter they have, so that's why they got evacuated.
I was hoping for the 11, but now they told us a 7.
The storm hit the South Island as well. High winds canceling a swath of ferry sailings during the morning hours.
Got here around 9:30, and when I checked online, they said everything was canceled till 7 p.m.
We've had some sailing cancellations on several routes this morning, including routes between our Tsawwassen and Schwartz Bay, Tsawwassen Duke Point, as well as between Denman and Horby Islands.
Fortunately for these Schwartz Bay passengers, the wait wasn't as long as they were originally told, with BC Ferries resuming service at noon.
It'll be a welcome surprise.
We have been tracking this storm very carefully. We do have crews out right now responding to the outages.
Parts of Vancouver Island saw wind speeds of up to 130 kilometers per hour, knocking out power to many customers.
We are expecting more outages today on the south coast, especially as we go into the later afternoon and evening and the winds and rain pick up.
Oh, I'm on a generator.
For Will, who is near that landslide on the North Island, which knocked out his power, he's not expecting the lights to come back on anytime soon.
It could be a week, it could be 4 or 5 days. I don't think it's going to be 2.
Although he's taking it all in stride.
It adds to the craziness of life up here, and we like crazy.
Brendan Strain, CTV News, Victoria.
Well, this is the first major fall storm system to hit the island this season. It's sure packing a punch. CTV meteorologist Josh Klassen is tracking it. So what can we expect in the next 24 to 48 hours?
Well, there's another storm system that's going to go through, but this one is not going to pack anywhere even close to the punch of the one that went through last night. Here's some fresh rain rolling in right now. There will be some more rain that comes through tonight. Really, most of it, though, looks like it's going to be through the course of the day tomorrow. This is by 7 a.m. tomorrow. Yeah, you pick up another 5-7 millimeters, and through a couple of spots, Victoria gets a few more showers. Watch these rainfall totals balloon by the end of the day tomorrow. Again, some really heavy rain from Tofino off to the south, so we'll have to watch for, a lot of these areas saw some really significant amounts of rain. We'll have to watch for a few more, mudslides and landslides as you've got all that waterlogged territory there. Wind speeds don't actually look like they're going to be all that bad as we head through the next system, but as this one goes through tonight and the next one rolls in tomorrow, you will likely, through the course of the day tomorrow with that rainfall, see gusts to about 40 or 50 kilometers per hour in and around Victoria. Full 5-day forecast for the entire island in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Josh. Bamfield Main Road, which has been closed for months due to safety concerns after a wildfire, reopened on time this morning, despite fear of storm-related setbacks. And as CTV's Andy Garland explains, the open road doesn't come without its challenges.
The main road to Bamfield has officially reopened for motorists.
Well, I think it's great. I just hope they don't have too many closures from here onward.
Several Several Bamfield residents traveled it this morning and said it's in great shape.
The road has been closed for more than 2 months after the Mount Underwood fire did heavy damage to 1.5 kilometer section of hillside along the roadway.
Quite a project to mitigate the risk of landslides, trees coming down.
While work was being done to stabilize the slope, a long detour route to get to and from Bamfield impacted the community greatly, not only from a tourism perspective, but also for people trying to get to appointments in Port Alberni.
Very much looking forward to hopefully having a normal season next year. We have some marketing support from the province coming our way.
Ministry of Transportation have installed a weather station to monitor wind and precipitation. Emergency gates and signage have also been installed on both sides of the affected area.
Explained to us today is that the road is open. It'll be open for hopefully the next week, and then there's going to be intermittent closures.
The ministry adds that additional daytime closures will be needed to do assessments and possibly remove debris that has come down.
They are going to be building cement walls to keep some of the debris from potentially coming onto the road.
The road could also close during severe weather, and motorists should check Drive BC website for the latest road updates. Andy Garland, CTV News, the Alberni Valley.
A new booking process will soon be introduced at urgent primary care centres throughout southern Vancouver Island. People seeking appointments will continue to call their local primary care centres. However, beginning October 27th, you'll get a call back from a registered nurse in order to assess the appropriate next steps for your immediate needs. The new process looks to cut down on delays by ensuring folks with the most urgent care needs are given timely and appropriate services. Updated booking systems are already being used at urgent and primary care centres in central Nanaimo, Cowichan, and throughout the Lower Mainland. Nanaimo Mounties have a warning tonight involving a so-called grandson scam after a Harbour City woman lost thousands in Bitcoin. RCMP say the phone scam, which targets seniors, is evolving, with the scammers now demanding Bitcoin from their victims rather than cash transfers. Investigators say a Nanaimo woman is out $2,000 after being contacted on October 14th by a man claiming to be her grandson stuck in jail. Police say if you get one of these calls from anyone asking for Bitcoin, money, or gift cards, hang up, break off all communication, and contact your local police. The District of Saanich says it is ready to take the next steps on its updated plan for the Panama Flats. The new concept for the cherished community space takes aim at conserving the area's natural beauty. This includes plans to protect sensitive habitats by creating a disturbance-free zone for migratory birds and other wildlife. The park will also continue to operate as a recreational space with updated hiking trails, special off-leash zones, and designated areas for bird viewing. After being endorsed by council, the plan now awaits approval on zoning requirements. The Other Guys Theatre Society has officially opened its new digs in downtown Victoria. The local arts hub took over an old grocery store in the 700 block of Johnson Street, and the group has re-envisioned it as a large, open performance space for artists, bands, performances, and a few offices. It's been an uphill battle for the small theatre company to get the doors open. In January, the group was seeking a $250,000 donation from the city of Victoria. They only received $100,000. Instead of giving up, they rolled up their sleeves and said the show must go on.
Sometimes you don't get everything you asked for, so it's been a bit of a curve. That did mean a lot of extra work administratively to try and figure out where are the missing pieces going to come from. We're just grateful for all the support we've received from those funders, the BC Arts Council, the City of Victoria, and from all the people that have made donations to help get us this far. For now, we're celebrating the fact that we're open and there are things happening at the scene.
And with it being Halloween, of course, the first event has to be a haunted house, which is on now. Next up will be live bands, which will begin playing in the space next week with Victoria's Meat Draw christening the new sound system. Still to come, Trump's trade tantrum.
Rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition.
An Ontario TV ad taking aim at Trump's tariffs results in the supposed termination of trade talks between Canada and the U.S. We'll be right back.
CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Explore the endless possibilities at one of our 36 BC locations. Learn more at expediacruises.ca.
West Shore Youth, looking for a fun spot to hang out? Youth nights are here. Skating, art, swims, and a place to chill. Staff-led and supervised for a safe, inclusive vibe. Check out WSPR.ca for more info.
Well, Josh, it feels like it's going to be a stay inside kind of weekend.
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned earlier, it's not going to be as stormy, but it will certainly be wet, especially through the course of the day tomorrow across the island, with most of the rain falling out on the west coast from Tofino to the south. Wind speeds last night, as we were talking about earlier, really the big story combined with that heavy rain. You had wind warnings, you had rainfall warnings in effect across the island, certainly lived up to that. 13 degrees today for a daytime high. We're at 12 in Victoria right now, and the wind, for the time being, is not bad. Had some showers and some gusts earlier in the day. This is the next little wave that's going to go through, but that is the system we're keeping an eye on for tomorrow. So take a look at your wind speed forecast. Let's take you through to tomorrow morning. Gusts to about 30 kilometers per hour. Victoria, 40, maybe 50 kilometers per hour out around Tofino through tomorrow morning. Could see gusts 50 and out over the water, maybe 60 or 70 kilometers per hour around Victoria. I think Comox as well could see gusts closer to 50 or 60 by the early to mid-afternoon hours. But this takes you right through to the end of the day tomorrow. And we're not really seeing any 80, 90, 100 kilometer per hour gusts like we saw in some areas overnight last night as that front went through. So there's the showers for tonight, then a break. By about midnight, that rain's out of the Victoria area, and it looks like it stays dry through into early tomorrow morning. Rain starts to slap up along the west coast, though, and then pushes through in a couple of waves through the Victoria area through the course of the day. But this is the region right here that will get targeted with the most significant rainfall. Once we get into Sunday, still a few scattered showers in the forecast for some areas, but not as steady as tomorrow. 10 to 15 millimeters in the north, and gusty with a high of about 9 tomorrow and Sunday. Drier for Sunday, 8 degrees both days this weekend. Heaviest of the rain tomorrow for inland areas will be in the morning. Then it tapers off to some lighter but still steady showers for Saturday. Few occasional showers or periods of rain on Sunday. Out on the west coast, depending on where you are, if you're Tofino north, you get about 20 to 30. If you're south of Tofino, Clulet areas, about 50 or 60 millimeters of rain. 10 degrees for both Saturday and Sunday with still a few showers possible on Sunday. 20 to 40 millimeters of rain, and gusty, as we just showed you in Comox for tomorrow. 8 tomorrow, a little bit better on Sunday, and then windy in Nanaimo with, I should have moved that 10 to 20 down, I guess, so you could actually read it. 10 to 20 millimeters worth of rain. In Victoria, 5 to maybe 15 by the end of tomorrow. Gusts to around 50 or 60 kilometers per hour at their max speed, although for most of the day they'll be a little bit lighter than that, and then chance of showers and 11 on the way for Sunday. CTV weather is brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So you're right, Nafisa, indoors for tomorrow. I think there may be some breaks there on Sunday where you can get outside.
All right, thanks, Josh. The U.S. president has delivered an unexpected blow to Canadian industries, announcing late last night that he's terminated trade talks with Canada. Donald Trump says the decision is over an anti-tariff ad paid for by the Ontario government. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver has more on the fallout.
Rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition.
Ontario's $75 million ad featuring the voice of the late Republican President Ronald Reagan was only on the air for about a week, but it appears to have hit a nerve. The U.S. president repeatedly attacking the ad, saying Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated.
What happened is one of the leaders in Canada was running ads in the United States on tariffs that took President Reagan's words out of context.
But there is skepticism even among Republicans that the ad alone is to blame for the terminated talks.
The fact is that the negotiations with the Canadians have not been very collegial. They've not been going well. I think the president's very frustrated.
Canadian negotiators seeking relief for hard-hit sectors like steel and aluminum were just in Washington. And as late as Tuesday, Canadian sources were telling CTV News a trade deal was close and progressing well.
We can't control the trade policy of the United States.
Prime Minister Mark Carney, who is off to Asia, where he will be attending global summits alongside the U.S. president, says Canada stands ready to talk.
We stand ready. to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions, because it will be for the benefit of workers in the United States, workers in Canada.
The Conservative leader lays the blame on the Prime Minister.
The responsibility rests with the national government and its head, and that's the Prime Minister. And Mark Carney has broken his promise.
The advertisement will run as scheduled during the first 2 World Series games. But the Premier's office says that in speaking with the Prime Minister, Ontario has decided to pause its U.S. advertising campaign on Monday. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Game 1 of the Fall Classic is tonight, and a lot has changed since the Blue Jays last made it to the World Series. Kim Campbell was Prime Minister in October of 1993. Gas was less than 60 cents a litre, and the internet was, well, barely a thing yet. So we asked CTV's Heather Wright to go back in time and take a look at what else has changed for Toronto Blue Jays fans.
32 years and 1 day. That is how long it has been since the Toronto Blue Jays last won the World Series.
Do you remember 92 and 93, the last time they won?
I wasn't born.
And neither was most of the Blue Jays roster. Just 6 players were alive during the Jays' last trip to the Fall Classic, including pitcher Jeff Hoffman, who was just 10 months old.
Everybody was watching the same game. There was no internet at the time, so that's all we had.
Back then, the Blue Jays' opening day payroll was the highest in the league at nearly $46 million in 1993 dollars, which is roughly $100 million today. Much less than the $239 million spent by the Blue Jays this year, the 5th highest payroll. Outside the Dome, the hot dog vendors haven't changed much in 30 years, though their prices have. $6 now compared with $2 in 93. But one of the biggest changes, tickets, how they're bought and how much they cost. 32 years ago, dedicated fans camped out all night to score World Series seats. This year, tickets were scooped up online in minutes, with some resale prices as high as $20,000. Not even close to prices 30 years ago.
Singles and obstructed seats on sale for all 4 games of the World Series at $78, $58, and $32.
Touch 'em all, Joe!
And while a lot has changed since Joe Carter touched them all, some things have not. Rick Pritchard biked down to the Rogers Centre just to take it all in.
Here I am trying to get a smell of the atmosphere.
Lois Newell is from Nova Scotia and watched the Jays win in 93 with her son Andrew. She's now back with her son and 3 grandchildren.
This means a lot because this is something that my grandchildren can remember.
And 32 years ago, there were 2 Canadian Major League Baseball teams. Now it's just the Blue Jays, playing not only for Toronto, but for the entire country. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up, art returned. Adam finds out what happened after a Victoria man found an unexpected original painting at a liquidation store. Next on the Sawatsky Sign-Off. Finally, Adam finds out how an unexpected discovery at a liquidation store in Victoria is leading to a meaningful reunion in Haida Gwaii on this Encore Sawatsky Sign-Off.
Leftovers. Although the range of products at his local liquidation store couldn't be more different.
So we got some office chairs.
From a bunch of furniture to just 1 pair of hip waders with size 14 boots.
So I got to find the exact right customer for that.
Rory Perrin says the prices are all printed the same.
That's my high-tech pricing system.
Post-it notes?
Post-it notes.
But after a recent hotel liquidation,
this is usually what we get.
Rather than a typical print, Rory discovered a rare original.
I'm not an artist type. Even a guy like me could recognize the beauty of it.
So, instead of putting a post-it on it, Rory started looking on the other side of it and found a couple old newspaper articles profiling a Haida artist named Kinawe Roberta Olson.
So we did a little research on the internet.
And Rory discovered a woman with the same name running a restaurant in faraway Haida Gwaii called Kinawe's Kitchen and gave her a call.
I was surprised.
Roberta said she hadn't seen the canvas in almost 45 years.
I appreciate what he did, just to remind me of that part of my life a long time ago.
So, the now 83-year-old offered to buy her painting.
Maybe we've got something of value here, financial value, but I didn't realize that the value was going to be something different in this case.
Rory never expected that their conversation would be so meaningful, that Roberta's voice sharing the story of her Haida heritage would be so strong that he would feel inspired to give her the painting for free.
It's just a moving feeling to be able to connect two things like that were separated a long time ago.
Roberta's granddaughter, Alicia Henderson, was certainly surprised when she picked up the painting from Rory.
That kind of generosity doesn't come along every day.
And now that it's back in the family, Alicia hopes the news story associated with Roberta's painting will inspire future generations to be generous too.
Continue giving and being kind to others.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
That is it for CTV News Vancouver Island. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night. Today on CTV News, Broadway business is braced for more disruption.
To complete this process as quickly as possible, vehicle traffic will be temporarily detoured around the block where the work is taking place.
Months of traffic closures on the busy Broadway corridor as crews complete the new subway line. Also tonight.
If mental health facilities are properly funded, this kind of thing is unlikely to happen.
Why the man accused of stabbing 3 people at a festival in Chinatown has been found not criminally responsible. And stuck pup, the tricky rescue operation to save a dog trapped between some massive boulders.
This is CTV News with Nafisa Kareem.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Canada's on-again, off-again trade war with the U.S. is on again. President Donald Trump announced the termination of talks last night on social media, referencing an ad paid for by the Ontario government and running on many U.S. networks. Penny Daflos is here. And Penny, this ad has been running for several days already.
Well, yeah, it has, Nafisa, which is a little bit odd that it made Trump post an angry Truth Social post about it last night. Government insiders have hinted there's a lot going on behind the scenes as well, though, but it's also clear the words of one of Trump's predecessors are unwelcome.
But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer.
The Ontario government is spending $75 million airing that ad so Americans can hear what Ronald Reagan believed about tariffs. Trump calls it fake, but they are audio excerpts from a 1987 address that Reagan gave. There's been a lot of reaction to the cessation of negotiations and what led to this impasse.
For months, we have stressed the importance of distinguishing things we can control and things we can't control. We can't control the trade policy of the United States.
I think the frustration has built up over time. I've been involved in some of these negotiations, and the Canadians have been very difficult to negotiate with.
Quite frankly, we, the provinces, the government, have a responsibility to talk to the American citizens directly. It's our responsibility to ensure they understand that tariffs have an impact on us, but it also has an impact on them.
Minister Kahlon told me that BC is launching their own ad campaign, and a couple hours ago, the Premier posted a sneak peek. We'll show you that at 6, and I'll just give you a little hint, Nafisa. It is a tad more diplomatic, shall we say, than what Ontario did.
All right, thanks, Penny.
You bet.
Well, traffic along Broadway is soon going to get even worse. Starting in January, one block will be closed to cars for months, thanks to the construction of the Broadway subway. CTV's Yasmin Gandam is live in Mount Pleasant at Main and Broadway with more. So, Yasmin, business owners have already been struggling, and this is an added hit.
As you can see, Nafisa, this area is already very congested, and 60% of business spaces along the Broadway corridor sit vacant. And now there is concern that it's going to get even worse with the traffic and congestion. The province says Maine to Quebec will be closed for approximately 4 months starting in January with a detour around the block. Once reopened, it will then be limited to 1 lane in each direction for a further 4 months. Pedestrian access will remain throughout the work. The closure is for crews to tear down a traffic deck, a temporary bridge in place since the start of the project.
By doing it this way, the impact time will be cut in half. That's extremely important. And at the same time, we're also ensuring that the access to their businesses for pedestrians will not be closed, nor for people who live along the routes. Their access will remain open.
Workers will also reinstall utilities, cover the station roof in soil, and repave the roadway. Now, coming up at 6, we'll hear from the Mount Pleasant Business Improvement Association, as well as various business owners who have been impacted by this construction. Now, it's important to note that this project has already been delayed by 2 years, and now we're going to see a further disruption for these business owners here. Nafisa?
Yasmin, thank you. A man accused of stabbing 3 people at a Vancouver Chinatown festival 2 years ago has been found not criminally responsible due to a mental disorder. The attack itself sparked concerns over how some psychiatric patients are managed in the community. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has more from BC Supreme Court in Vancouver.
There was no dispute that it was Blair Donnelly who attacked 3 people with a chisel on September 10th, 2023. The case ultimately came down to his mental state at the time. The judge sided with the defense, saying the court does not convict people of crimes for being sick. Donnelly, now 66, was on a day pass from the Colony Farm Psychiatric Hospital in Port Coquitlam, where he's been held since 2008 after being found not criminally responsible for killing his teenage daughter. Video captured Donnelly on his bike at various points between the hospital and downtown Vancouver. He said his plan was originally to go to Waves Coffee Shop in Coquitlam, but that God prompted him to go to Chinatown. Court heard he stopped at a Home Depot and purchased the chisel, which he says he bought instead of a knife because he thought God wanted him to hurt someone but not kill them. Donnelly says when he eventually arrived at the festival, he took his time scoping out possible victims before ultimately going through with it, stabbing 2 women and 1 man. Part of the attack captured here. Donnelly can then be seen running away along East Pender Street, but was arrested shortly after and brought to the police station for questioning.
These people now are terrified to leave their house. They are absolutely petrified that if they go out on the streets that something like this is going to happen to them again. Can I tell them that it's not going to happen to them again?
I don't know the future. Donnelly was facing 3 counts of aggravated assault. A psychiatrist who testified at the trial in September said his most recent diagnosis was schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type. Justice Eric Guittardi said he was convinced that Donnelly was incapable of knowing what he was doing was morally wrong at the time. His lawyer feels this incident was avoidable.
Mental health facilities are properly funded. This kind of thing is unlikely to happen.
Donnelly will remain at the psychiatric hospital, where he'll continue to be monitored by the review board. His next hearing is scheduled for December. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Vancouver.
After a long stretch of dry, mild weather, fall has arrived in full force across Metro Vancouver. Strong winds and steady rain have caused scattered power outages and travel delays today as the first major storm system in weeks sweeps across the south coast.
Vancouver right now for October is seeing around 47% of its normal. So these next few systems will push that up closer to normal periods. But what we don't want is we don't want too much rain or too much wind all at once.
Meteorologists say the transition from dry to stormy conditions is a double-edged sword. We get welcome rain, but coming all at once after months of drought. The dry soil and brittle vegetation across the region has made trees more vulnerable, and that's created added challenges for BC Hydro crews responding to outages.
A lot of them are really brittle, and the soils are quite dry from the years of extended drought that we've had. So there are potential for more outages because of the trees and the fact that we haven't had a huge wind event yet.
At the peak of the winds this morning, about 1,900 homes and businesses lost power across the Lower Mainland. Officials are reminding people to secure loose items outdoors, report downed lines, and have an emergency kit ready in case the next wave of storms moves in this weekend. Well, after the break, a longtime Vancouver firefighter is laid to rest, but first.
April the 26th was the darkest day in the history of Vancouver.
A dark day, but could it have been prevented? A victim of the Lapu Lapu festival attack has filed a class action lawsuit. Who's named in it? A CTV News at 5 continues.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Vancouver, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
A class action lawsuit has been filed in connection with the car ramming attack at Vancouver's Lapu Lapu Day Festival in April. CTV's Martin McMahon has more, with the City of Vancouver and Vancouver Coastal Health named among the defendants.
Make no mistake about it, April the 26th was the darkest day in the history of Vancouver.
It was an attack which left 11 people dead and many others injured at Vancouver's Lapu Lapu Festival. Now, nearly 6 months later, a man who was there has filed a class action lawsuit against the City of Vancouver, Vancouver Coastal Health, and Kaiji Adam Lowe, the man accused of carrying out the attack. John Lind is the plaintiff. He has suffered serious injuries as a result of the attack, according to the statement of claim. That includes PTSD, rib fractures, a punctured spleen and lung, a kidney laceration, and more. The suit makes a range of allegations, including that the city knew or ought to have known unlawful entry was reasonably foreseeable. The claims against Vancouver Coastal Health relate to Lowe, who suffers from schizophrenia, alleging he was allowed to be out on leave despite a significant history of mental health interactions and worsening mental health. In a September report, the city and its police department largely stood by the preparations for the event.
There's not a single city on the planet that can eliminate all risk all the time. But what we can do is plan smarter, act faster.
The report called for the feds and province to pass standardized event safety legislation.
When you standardize public safety events, you create a basement or a platform where, you know, the bar is set higher. It's consistent across the province. With that can come funding.
Lowe is charged with 11 counts of murder and 31 counts of attempted murder. A judge declared him fit to stand trial last month. And in terms of this class action lawsuit, it hasn't been certified at this point. The named defendants have 21 days to challenge the allegations, which have not been proven in court. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Vancouver firefighters honored one of their own today with an emotional funeral service downtown. VFRS paid respects to the family of Acting Battalion Chief Sean Boland, who died after a courageous battle with occupational cancer. Boland joined Vancouver Fire back in 1999, dedicating more than 2 decades to the service. Fire Chief Karen Fry posted on Instagram saying she had the honor of presenting Boland with a pair of medals just prior to his death. Well, it's Friday, and we've got a movie preview for you. This week, a look at the early life of the boss with Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. And later, that is the heartbreaking sound of a pup stuck between a rock and a hard place. We'll show you how crews rescued him. Plus, Anne's Friday forecast is coming up.
He's going to repair the entire world. Trying to find something real in all the noise.
You've seen him in The Bear. Now Jeremy Allen White is playing Bruce Springsteen on the cusp of global superstardom. We'll get a review of Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, right after Anne's forecast. And Anne, I feel like it's a good weekend to be at the movies because it's going to be a wet one.
Yes, it's going to be soggy. We are seeing a break right now in between systems. The next one is just at our doorstep. As you can see, the low pressure system bringing in more rain as we head into the weekend. So right now, as mentioned, for Metro Vancouver, cloudy skies. Still seeing a lot of rain for the Fraser Valley, higher elevation, seeing some mixing. So another round of wet weather moves its way in tonight, just around 8. It doesn't last very long, drying up through the overnight hours. Into tomorrow morning, we'll see the next system push its way in just around 8 o'clock, and it'll continue throughout the day. We will see periods of rain, 15 to 25 millimeters expected as we head through the day. For the southern interior, you're looking at a mix of sun and cloud with a few afternoon showers from Kamloops right down to Zeus, highs to 11 degrees. a mix of sun and cloud for Nelson with a high of 11 as well. For the central interior, a mix of sun and cloud for Prince George and Cornell. Periods of rain for Williams Lake. Some showers as well as some sun along the coast for Bella Coola with a high of 7 degrees. For the northern half of the province, mostly sunny skies for Masset. A chance of afternoon thunder showers for Prince Rupert. Lots of sunshine in store for Fort St. John with a few clouds for Dease Lake, Fort Nelson, and Smithers for the North Island. It'll be another soggy one. Temperatures between 8 and 9 from Port Hardy right down to Comox for the South Island. You're looking at periods of rain as well from Tofino right down to Victoria. Temperatures between 8 and 12 degrees. Soggy once again for the Sunshine Coast with a high of 10. Same story up the Sea to Sky Highway. You're looking at 7 degrees for Squamish, 5 for Whistler, and for us across the Lower Mainland. Periods of rain, highs to 11 degrees. Slowly easing as we head into Sunday. A few breaks with a few showers and 10 degrees. Cloudy with showers on Monday. Into Tuesday, we'll start off cloudy. Rain returns in the afternoon with a high of 11 into Wednesday morning before it clears out of the way. So enjoy that sunshine Wednesday afternoon with a high of 11 degrees. But make sure you have your umbrellas handy.
All right, good advice. Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
Well, Hollywood's newest biopic chronicles the personal struggles of one of America's biggest musicians, Bruce Springsteen, while recording his 1982 album, Nebraska. Here's CTV film critic Richard Krause with his review of Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere.
He's going to repair the entire world. Trying to find some real in all the noise.
The thing that we have to start with, I think, is by saying what this movie isn't. This movie is not like a big, showy rock biography like Bohemian Rhapsody or Rocket Man or one of the others that we've seen recently. This is a quiet, solemn, introspective film that picks up in and around 1982. Bruce Springsteen has just had the biggest hit of his career with Hungry Heart. He's just come off the tour for the album The River, and the record company wants another record right away, and they wanted to have at least 3 hits on it, and it makes him reconsider his career, the direction, how famous he really wants to become, all that kind of thing. So it starts off in kind of a traditional rock bio kind of way, but then as the movie goes on, it deepens into a study of his psychological state as he is recording the album Nebraska, which is ripe with references to his own traumatic childhood and that sort of thing, all woven through these songs. Deeply personal, as is this movie. This is not a fist-in-the-air rock and roll film, but a real portrait of a person who's struggling to figure out their place in the world and to find, as he says, some quiet among the noise. It's very good. Jeremy Allen White is very good, but just know what you're going to see as you pay your money for a ticket. It's called Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, and I give it 3.5 stars out of 5, and it's in theaters right now.
If you're looking for something strange this Halloween, a new movie starring Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons hits theaters October 31st.
You know I'm not an alien.
Lies.
Truth. What's the difference?
Begonia follows a powerful CEO played by Stone who's kidnapped by 2 men who are convinced she's an alien. The sci-fi thriller dives into eco-terrorism, corporate conspiracy, and collapsing bee colonies. Stone is also one of the producers on the movie. How's that for a throwback? More than 40 years after the groundbreaking TV show debuted, Austin Butler and Michael B. Jordan are in talks to play Crockett and Tubbs in an upcoming Miami Vice movie. Inspired by the pilot and first season of the original series, shooting is expected to begin next year. Coming up, how crews rescued a dog that was stuck between some boulders, plus
appears to be right out of Mission Impossible.
They're not exactly crown jewels, but some thieves got away with tens of thousands of dollars worth of sneakers. We'll show you how they did it and take a look at this. Stay with us. The Vancouver Whitecaps are ready to begin their quest for a first ever MLS Cup title and will kick things off with a rematch of the season finale.
Over 300 goals in his career, looking for one more. Muller, yes!
Well, that was the highlight of that game. The Caps begin a best-of-3 series against FC Dallas on Sunday in the Western quarterfinals in front of a packed house at BC Place. Well, the team has opened up parts of the upper bowl to accommodate more fans. The two teams split the season series with 1 win each, with Dallas getting the upper hand 2-1 against a 10-man Vancouver side last Saturday. Now with a preview of CTV News at 6, Mi-Jung Lee.
Nafisa, trade tensions have erupted over an Ontario ad campaign. The ad featuring Ronald Reagan saying tariffs hurt Americans will air during the World Series, but they'll be pulled starting Monday. What BC has planned in the on-again trade war. And big changes are coming to a key intersection in Mount Pleasant starting January. Part of the corner of Main and Broadway will be off limits as part of the Broadway subway construction. Reaction from frustrated businesses. And 3 Mounties are being honored for risking their lives, pulling seniors from a burning home. I'll be back at 6. Nafisa?
Thanks, Mi-Jung. A heist at a Florida mall is being described as something from an action movie, and it's safe to say the thieves were feeling pretty sneaky. Jeremy Roth explains in your Friday edition of Take a Look at This.
Officials in Florida are looking for answers in what's being described as a movie-style heist that netted burglars an estimated $40,000 in athletic sneakers. Images shared by the Martin County Sheriff's Office shows dozens of shoe boxes left on the roof of a mall in Jensen Beach after they say suspects cut in through the concrete roof into a shoe store below and stole some 400 to 500 pairs of new athletic footwear.
They went after the high-dollar shoes, Nikes, New Balance, and those Air Jordan Nikes.
By the way, yes, the sheriff did call the Nikes Nikes, but calm down. It may be some kind of regional pronunciation. After all, some upstate New Yorkers have been known to call hamburgers steamed hams. Not in Utica, of course. It's more of an Albany expression. Where was I? Oh, right, the shoes. The sheriff described the elaborate burglary as well organized, likening it to something out of a heist movie.
Appears to be right out of Mission Impossible.
And while there may not have been MI-level acrobatics involved, for now it was enough for these fleet-of-foot shoe thieves to get away without getting caught. Speaking of caught, that's the heartbreaking sound of a poor puppy that got caught between a rock and a hard place, another rock, in California. CAL FIRE officials responded after they say the poor baby was found trapped between the boulders by her owner. The crew used ropes, hoses, and pressurized airbags to move the massive boulders just enough so the stuck pup named Zoe was able to be safely lifted from the cramped spot. Thanks to the crew's efforts, Zoe emerged unscathed, a little older, and a little wiser. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Look at her face.
Zoe looks happy there. Nike wants to help you run faster and farther than ever before. The company has unveiled what they're calling Project Amplify. They've teamed up with a robotics company called Defy to create the world's first powered footwear system for running and walking. Now, this is not geared towards professional athletes so they can compete faster, but rather for average people who like to jog, run, or walk. So I looked into this robotics company. They make exoskeletons.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So your feet can run without you even doing anything.
It sounds like a
amazing
deal to me.
All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot. Cloudy skies in Cole Harbour. Thanks, Megan, for sending this one in. And you can email us your scenic snapshot as well at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Thank you so much for joining us. Mi-Jung is up next at CTV News at 6. But right now, here is CTV National News. Good night.